Hello, my name is Monica Kretschmer. I'm the founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network, Woman of Inspiration Awards, and this is the Woman of Inspiration podcast, where we speak with women who lead, inspire, and motivate. Today, I have a really special guest. Elizabeth Blake Thomas has been on the podcast before during the pandemic, and you are back now. But you are a Woman of Inspiration finalist this time around. And boy, have you the grass does not grow underneath your feet, Elizabeth. You continue to lead, inspire, to champion, to make an impact in the world. And so, listeners, let me just introduce a little bit about Elizabeth. She is the director and co-founder of the Mother and Daughter Entertainment, and also the founder of Medicine with Words. Elizabeth Blake Thomas is an award-winning director, keynote speaker, creativity coach, and philanthropist, known for her diverse roles in film and personal development. As the founder of Medicine with Words, Elizabeth offers a unique form of creative coaching designed to help individuals declutter their minds, discover their purpose, and live with intention. Her approach combines mindfulness with creative exercises such as writing and drawing, and allowing clients to really transform their journeys of personal growth. She has 20 years of experience in the theater directing and 8 years in the film, and I know just where it started. Elizabeth's creative insight and personal journey has shaped works as a personal trainer for the mind. She helps others navigate their creative and emotional landscapes. And in addition to all of that, she is also the co-founder of Mother Daughter Entertainment, a production company that she runs with her daughter, Isabella Blake Thomas, and I love to see her growth as well. She's a rock star. The company focuses on creating empowering films that amplify diverse voices with projects such as Just Swipe, Hunt Club, and Carla Leak. Did I say that right?
Oh, Caroleek.
Caroleek. Elizabeth's directorial credits span over 20 films, ranging from romantic comedies to psychological thrillers. Elizabeth, I'm so excited to have you back. And I remember the conversation that we had. You were living on your boat during the pandemic, and I think we weren't even sure if it was a pandemic still, or it just happened. So I'm excited to talk to you about, let's go right back to that moment, fill in the listeners that haven't, tapped into that podcast. We can link it, but welcome.
It's funny when you mention that because I actually really remember, like crystal clear, dancing to my power song on the side of the boat and on the slip, and remembering, and it was sunny, and what I was wearing and what we were doing. And to think that that was kind of quite a long time ago now, although could feel like it was only yesterday, really puts things in perspective. And so again, I always love listening to the bio that people talk about you, and I go, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh yeah, I have done that, because it's those mental reminders all the time of how far we've come and what we've done. And if I could look back to that interview and say, did I think I was going to be here then? Actually, yes would be my answer, because I had it planned out. I knew what I was going to do. I knew how I wanted it to happen. Could I have known that it was going to? Of course not. Otherwise I'd be putting my numbers on the lottery right now. But actually, that was my vision, and I am here. And I think that's a really wonderful moment. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm. And to be honest with you, I go back and I know what you were wearing, and I know the light was shining. And when I played that song in the green room, because I said, "What is your power song?" and I just kind of, as I was running, getting to the podcast today, and Avicii, "Wake Me Up," and the words are so powerful, and that was the power song that we danced it out to before the podcast last time, and you were on the boat, and I remember how magical it was. It was a beautiful day, but there's a lot of things that have happened in between this time, and like you've grown. I mean, how many books? I mean, you were working on a book then that hadn't been published.
And I have them all here.
Okay, right. it was the filmmaking without fear. That's the one that you were working on when we had just spoke. Did you finish it, or were you? I think that somehow I saw a cover, or maybe I just am I imagining that?
2021. It says first published in 2021.
So
So
you were just finishing it, and I think you shared with me what the cover was going to look like at
I
that
think I
time.
did. I think I did. Yeah, it's interesting when you look at that. So this one was 2017. This was 2021, and then the last one was this year. Oh no, 2023. But yeah, it came out this year. And again, when you look back at that and recognize, that's why I love doing books and things like that, because in my films, because that's that stage of my life that I'm at, and it takes me back to that moment, and you can really kind of immerse yourself in what you were like, where your mental place was, where you were from a work perspective as well. So it's interesting seeing the development.
So what I would love, and I remember this so crystal clear, and I love this so much, like a couple things. You and I met at
Sundance.
Sundance in 2019, and this was right before the world stopped, literally stopped.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were at Sundance, and it was only a month later in some odd days that the pandemic happened. But I remember us having a conversation in that house by the
I
fireplace,
was going to say that, yeah.
and it was like a fireside chat that we had, and I still actually have that on my phone. It's taken up so much memory, but I don't care. I'm not getting rid of it because it's so important to me. And I thought about actually sharing it with you, but I tried, but it just won't carry. So you will get it one day when I figure that out. But I look back at your journey and that conversation that we had on our very first podcast, Elizabeth. And when I asked you where you started your journey or how did you become a director, I remember your answer. And what I'd love you to do is share your answer with the listeners because it is badass.
Well, and it's funny because actually I did mention this, and when we say what it is in a minute, there's relevance to this to the person that said the thing that we're about to reveal. And he did say, there is an extra bit of the sentence you should say. And I was like, okay, okay, I will do. So this was one of the most influential males in my life who I had met at a film festival, a different film festival. And because I had been a theatre director, he said, it's very important that people know I didn't just not know anything. So I had been a theatre director. And he said to me, you should be a director. So we were in the world of film and TV. And I said, how do I do that? And he said to me, you just say you're a director. Now, what's so important though that I now need to carry on because he's told me to say this. So Sean McNamara said to me, and you must tell people though that it wasn't just saying it, you then did deliver the goods. You then did do it. You then put things in practice because you can't just say you are and expect it to come to you. So I did say I was a director and then was like, okay, and now how do I make that happen? But by convincing myself and just knowing that that was my vision, and I think that's what I do with everything. Okay, I'm an author, I'm a this is what I do, I'm a creativity coach, I'm a keynote speaker. You then have to fulfill what that is.
That is pure gold, Elizabeth. That I think that is really important for our listeners. And we have so many women that are accomplished and successful, and they put their actions to work. And I think that a lot of times we can manifest everything we want in our life or have these great, big, awesome visions and goals. But if we don't actually take the action and the steps in order to make them happen, they're just words.
Yeah, I mean, I literally live with lists. These are my lists at the moment. I mean, that one's about to have these two rewritten on it because and it's you they're actionable items. I mean, that is where I feel. And sometimes people can feel overwhelmed because, okay, let's say to you, you're going to write your book. And if someone was to go, oh my Lord, how do I write a book? It's not about that's the actionable item. That is your end thing you're getting to. you need to know, or what's the book about? How am I doing it? It's the same with a film. I want to make a film. Okay, well, what's that film going to be about? How, all the steps to get you there. And I think people can feel overwhelmed. I mean, that's where I help with the creativity coaching, because I have this whole structure of how I do that. And it has worked for me. But one of the biggest things, though, that I try to get people to understand is I am not a perfectionist, which is a huge skill. Because if I was, none of these books would be in existence. None of my movies would be finished. Because there are times in your life where, and I was reading your questions this morning actually to go over them, where I feel that you go, okay, I am ready to get that out in the world now. And if you don't do it then, actually other things come in and you become a different person. So really, there's never the right time. Because if I was to wait for this Living with Intention book to come out, and I was doing it this year, I'm already on another level of things. So that's why my next book has got that. But if I hadn't put that out, then that would have been a real waste. So I think for me, there's this constant motion of growth and development, and literally get those things out when they're relevant to you.
Preach. That's the only word I have that's come into mind right now, girl, is preach, because there's so much in that. And I think about, you know, even me coming into the podcast today, I said, we've got this massive event coming up in less than 2 weeks, and my schedule opened up for a podcast. Actually, two, not one, but two. And I'm like, I'm a committer. So I'm going to get these podcasts done because they're so important to me. Do I have time right now? Probably not. Am I going to make time? Yes. And if you want something done, you've got to give it to a busy person. But there's also this notion of being perfect. And if you wait to be perfect, it will never get done. And so I am so aligned with what you're saying about that. What we deliver is as close to perfection, and even actually it comes out even better than we truly can imagine it in our minds. And that's just the intention that we set. But sometimes if we wait for everything to be perfect, those opportunities go away. And
And there
so
might be something from today that actually, if we hadn't stopped to do this, you wouldn't have recognized or learnt or heard, and it might change slightly the trajectory of what you're about to do this afternoon. Who knows? Or something that reminds you of something, and you go, oh gosh, if I hadn't done that podcast this morning, I wouldn't have known that. And I think that's where the growth aspect, when I look back on, gosh, if I hadn't gone to that event, I wouldn't have met this person to do this, which led me to that. And we can't predict that. There is no way that I would have known that you would now have been in my life for 5 years by going to the Sundance. And it's recognizing those things when they come in.
Oh, and by the way, can we also say being in the Woman of Inspiration, Woman Driving Change book too, which came out in 2021. And Elizabeth, I'm going to show you your picture. And actually, I think that was probably taken on your boat. I'm going to flip to the page here, and I got to tell you, this has gone into the hands of some really, really amazing individual. I just sent a copy to Reese Witherspoon, and I had one for Sarah Blakely and Octavia, and I also sent one to Chris McDonald. Oh my God, the people that have a copy of this book, I got to tell you. So the message is being shared with so many more people than you can ever possibly imagine.
It's fabulous. No, it really is fabulous. And again, it's about not waiting for that moment to be exactly right.
Okay, so
Yay.
for those that are watching the YouTube, there you are. And I think you're on the boat in that one, wearing your fabulous dress. I don't know if it almost like it was taken that day, but there
Do
you
you know
are.
what's interesting about the boat, Monica, as well, which is one of those things to look back on, because it's not only that we find ourselves maybe mentally in different places, but if we are growing and we're going through changes and experiences, and as a woman, I'm 46, I really definitely am getting to the the fuck it 50s, or maybe they're in my fuck it 40s, I don't know. But I feel like I now am in a place of real understanding of who I am. And that's something that you can't explain or know as you're going through it. And I wouldn't have wanted someone at 20 to tell me, oh, don't worry, at 46, you'll be like this, because the experiences have got me to be who I am. But the boat was a really interesting time because, you know, I lived on it for 5 years, I had an amazing experience, and it was the other people around me who were really concerned with me changing my life and selling it because they knew me as the person that lived on the boat. And what was that going to do? And I said, no, no, but it's time for a change now. And I also always make a change not from a place of fear. I make it a year before I'll be fearful. So I don't do something because it's based in fear. And I was like, no, I know the boat is probably not going to be right for me in about a year's time. I'm going to put it on the market now and I'm going to sell it. But as I said, it was all the other people who were like, oh my gosh, how are you going to cope? What are you going to do? But those changes were paramount to where I'm at now. And to be able to come into an environment of saying, no, I'm a minimalist, or I'm a vegan, or I'm a zero waster, or all those things that have happened have led me to this place.
Beautiful. And I love that part of your life. That's a chapter in your book that is so rich. And how many people actually walk with such intention, I think, is the important part. And we look at people that have achieved such great success, and I remember a conversation, actually, it was that I just witnessed in LA, actually. And somebody had asked, I think it was Nadia, the pasta queen. Shout out to her because she's badass in the absolutely best way. And they asked her, like, so it's like this overnight success, and was it just luck? And she says, no, it was very intentional. And I think that we need to talk about that intention, because nothing ever happens if you don't have a vision with a plan and then you take action on it. And, I love that you're doing things before the fear sets in. Because, you're like, that's not going to be my place in a year. So I've got to make a plan now to make that happen. And so, what does, you know, I guess I want to talk about, what are the biggest lessons you've learned as a leader?
Well, I think it's also, it's not just coming from that place of not having the fear. I think it's also giving your brain the space to breathe, because I think I filled my time. I was always busy, and that's fine. You can be busy. But again, it's the intentional busyness. So I was coming back from Miami last weekend, and 1 in the morning, and I find that having gone away for a little bit of time, I've let my brain breathe. I've let that space come in. And there was still stuff going on. It wasn't like I suddenly sat on the beach and stared into space for 72 hours, but there was a difference. My brain was feeling different. And I realized something that I was doing in business naturally, but hadn't worked out that that was a really excellent niche or could be my USP, my unique selling point. And that, because of that trip, that gave me the space to do that. And actually, I'm reverse engineering things, going, hold on, I'm already doing this. Now I just need to know that I'm doing it more or push it differently. So I think not coming from a place of fear, allowing my brain to have the space to breathe, to grow, to nurture these ideas and not just fill it with stuff. Also, by removing things from your world allows the space for other things to come in. And those three things are quite metaphysical. And maybe as a 10 years ago, I wouldn't have realized that they were important in business. I'd be like, well, no, no, business is about numbers, or business is about the connections. And those three things are totally based on me as a person. And that, I think, has afforded me the ability to grow, progress, learn. And then that could be my number 4, actually, to understand that I'm always going to be growing and not thinking that I've done it and I'm there. And what is there? Because there needs to become there, and then there will become there, and then there will become there. So I think my disillusional being of what I thought success was, what inspirational meant, what my business would look like, where I would be at in my life is so different. So allowing myself that room to understand there will be change and to go with the flow, really.
Beautiful. I have to say that what I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, because when people look at people that have achieved success and continue to evolve and grow and achieve even greater success, and they look at the thought leadership that's evolving, what they don't realize is that these individuals are doing it for the first time as well. So as you talk about growing onto the next, you're still on your path of growth, and you might be a thought leader, but the thought leaders of the world, they're actually going through their own journey and doing things for the very first time as well, which is that's
Absolutely.
so crazy. It's just that they're very like yourself. I mean, you just
Well, and it is, and it's
there's
all the
intention.
foundation. It's the foundation that I've built to get there. And it is, you literally need two versions of this because I have it's intentional. I have lists. I do my research. I do my due diligence. I don't stop working ever. But I also have this side, which is the version of letting my brain breathe, understanding how I'm feeling, knowing how I want to show up in life. And those things need to marry. If you don't have both of those, this one would be, well, maybe I'm just going to sit and stare at the ocean and nothing gets done, but I'm feeling good. This one could be, I'm totally overworked, but I'm a billionaire. Put them together, and I think that is the magic, which I feel is something that I have definitely learned as I've progressed. But I needed to do all of this when I needed to, and I needed to do all of this when I needed to. And then what's the magic ingredient is putting them together.
Beautiful. I always leave space in my calendar for magic to happen. Always. I love the synchronicities. There's always space for magic and synchronicities and living in the moment in my calendar. I might say I'm fully booked up, but I've always got some space available, right? Because I really love the adventure piece of it. And you're right. Those are the times what you can sit back and go, that's my next step, or your unique selling proposition, your USP. And I am so like, I think we're the same place on a lot of things, Elizabeth, as
Yeah.
far as, building and growing and these big audacious visions. And I really, anyway, I'm picking up what you're dropping, girl. And
And
thank you for being
but
so smart in articulating it so well.
thank you. But I think also what you just said about those big visions, it's also recognizing why we want them. So maybe why I wanted them when I was in my 20s, which isn't the reason, but let's pretend it was, oh, because I want to be famous. And then actually, as you get older, you recognize, it's not fame. Actually, it's maybe recognition. So again, the reasons for doing things, I think one of the privileges of getting older is understanding the why behind what we're doing and recognizing what really makes you tick. So for me, if I transform someone's life, I could have thought initially, oh, I need to be the next Dalai Lama. I want it to be out there. I want everyone to know me. But actually, one person's life each day, somebody that might listen to this podcast, I'm doing what I want to do. That is transforming lives. So understanding the why behind why you're doing things, I think that's important.
I am in my fuck it 50s. And I have got to say, there is a light switch that goes on the moment that you turn 50, where your perspective changes from a sense of, you talk about those lists and the intuitiveness and the go, 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 go. For me, I was just like, if I don't leave space or more space in my schedule to rediscover who I am, or to take time for me, because I didn't have self-care. I did not. I mean, my background and story. There was no time for that before. It was all about work and rebuilding, and there was no time for downtime. But I think you get to a certain point, the older that you get, you're like, if I don't carve that in it's not going to happen. And that's when the self-care comes in. That's where the creativity comes in. That's where I think fulfillment really, you start really feeling that sense of fulfillment. Do you agree?
100%. In fact, there was another word, and I was just going to see if I wrote it down. Hold on. Let's see if I did write it, because I wrote a beginning of I'm not going to do another TED talk because I have done one, but there was this paragraph I wrote. I think I'll just make it up. It's not going to be as good because I wrote it somewhere, because I said, so we're going to talk about something very personal. It's a three-letter word, and it is something that, people like to do. They can do it on their own. Maybe they do it together. Maybe they use things to help them achieve this. And anyway, I was going on, and then I said, and the word is fun, because fun is also forgotten. Fun is an aspect that, as we have become mothers, grown up, we've got partners, we're busy, we've got jobs, everything's scheduling, we're working. So it's not just about leaving the time for the magic. It's not just about, and I think at 50 you do have these midlife transformations. For me, it's about saying, "Oh, I want to have fun." Like dancing to that song. I was just in the grocery store with Isabella, and there was a song playing. It was like from the 1990s. And I started to, jam out. And we were giggling today because she's lost her voice. And so I'm trying to understand what she's doing. And I was never any good at that, that game, whatever that charades is, and having hysterics. And it's like fun. The fun has to come into it. Otherwise, what is the point? And that's basically actually something that my TED talk refers to as well. So everything that you've said plus fun.
Oh, that is my middle name, almost to a fault. Like I
Monica
honestly,
Kretschmer.
sometimes I think I'm so immature because I love to have fun. Like I literally, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You are a very fun person, actually. That's quite a good word to describe you. Yeah, I would say you're fun. You find the fun. So was it, is it the, and you find the fun and snap. The job's a game. Dum 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 dum. I'm just basically Mary Poppins.
Well, I think fun finds me as well. I think we find each other somewhere. There's never a dull moment when I come into the equation, absolutely, and that's who I am, right? And so that's what we bring to the table. I want to talk about because we talk. Let's talk about another really important word. It's only a one-letter word. Celebration. I think that we it's important to have fun, but I think it's also important that we celebrate and stand and look back at all the things that we've done before we go on to the next, but just acknowledge the hard work, the relentless, the ambition, the integrity, the struggles, the failures, and just stand in that moment and celebrate where you are and all that you have achieved. So, Elizabeth, how are you about celebrating? I think I know that already, but I want you to share with the listeners your
Okay.
thoughts on that.
So there are three things that come from what you just said. Pat yourself on the back, the gratitude glasses, and failures are lessons. So those are the three things I just wanted to remind myself so I didn't forget them. So there's an exercise I do, which is literally draw around your hand on a piece of paper. It's called the pat yourself on the back exercise. Write, fill in, draw, whatever it is, those things that you are most proud of. And I also love doing this with families, because sometimes a 4-year-old might draw a picture of sneakers, and actually it's because he tied his shoelaces today, because there's relevance to what we are proud of. When I am depressed, I am proud that I get up in the morning and continue to drive myself forward. I could pat myself on the back to say I am proud that I have got another film funded. So we've got levels of what that is, and I try to celebrate that continuously. I am proud that my daughter had a situation the other day and handled it in the way she did, because then my role as a mum, I'm like, I should get an award for that. And I'm like, this is what I need to celebrate. I've done these things, I've brought them to fruition. The other thing is gratitude. Constantly having gratitude, for where I'm at, what I'm doing, what the things were that got me to here. I am grateful that I was with my ex-husband. I am grateful that we're not together now. I am grateful, all of those, just bringing in the gratitude. And then I never use the word failures or mistakes. I just call them lessons. They are all lessons. I literally don't use that word. Oh, there's another lesson. There's another lesson. That is all they are, leading you to that next one. And I go, fuck it, I really did that. I made that lesson. I really learned hard with that lesson. To me, that just, there isn't the word failure and mistake. And it's not because I'm saying that that's not what I'm meaning, but there is a negative connotation to those. Even if people say fail is first attempt in learning, we've tried to make a positive thing to it. For me, it's just a lesson. Everything needs to be looked at. So I think those are the three things that I would do to kind of recognize who I am and where I'm at. And I do get to see it in my daughter as well, actually. I do get to see an evidence, a mirror of, okay, I'm doing an okay job here. I think that's my physical.
So I wrote down that pat on your back because I think that's a great exercise that everybody can do. I really love that.
Yeah.
And I think I say the F word a little bit too much when it should be the L word. My word of the year for last year was love, and so that was my L word. But I intentionally use lessons, and I do believe they are lessons, but I think I have said the F word. And I shouldn't say the F word.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the fuck word.
Exactly.
'Cause I do
Say
say fuck
that
it a
all the
lot.
time.
I actually, that's like, fuck it. It's
Fuck it.
fuck
We say
it.
we say fuck a doodle do, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
So I would love to, I want you to talk about your support hers. I know that that's a really important piece. We can't achieve great things in the world without support
Yeah.
around us. And I think that for too long, there has been this notion that we have to stand strong, tall by ourselves and we have to own it. And I think we're not allowed to ask if somebody asks for help, it's perceived as as not a strength. I perceive it as a strength if you ask for help, by the way. But for so long, it's like woman empowerment and that woman standing on the own, like the fearless girl. And I want to change that to I think she needs like a boy or a couple people beside her. Why does she have to be alone? Why do we perceive women to be fearless and doing it all on their own? So I want to talk about support and specifically inviting those men and our allies, the support hers to the conversation and why it's so important.
Yeah, I mean it really is. I definitely feel like I did it all on my own. I do. But what that then allowed me to really appreciate was when there were those people there, because I was on my own. I didn't have that support. I had to do it all. I had to think outside the box, make it all happen. So when those moments happened where I really did suddenly go, oh my gosh, that's excellent advice, or wow, that person really wants to help me, it was life-changing. And I definitely would say there have been two very strong male figures in that time. But I think also looking around on different levels, like my daughter is there from the beginning and has taught me a lot. My dog, as you know, is there and has taught me a lot. So there are lots of different things that have supported me and shown me that. But from an actual perspective of work, the first mentor that I had that was in the industry was obviously when Sean told me to be a director and what have you. He then supported me in my decisions by physically being there, by leading by an example of don't do it like I do it this way, or try this. Also explaining what happened when he made certain decisions so I could learn from that. And then the second one was a manager who again had lots of clients, who elevated what I was doing. So I had this wonderful support down here, and then I had somebody that could elevate it. And then, the world I'm in now, I look at it and I go, I'm not sure who is there that I would need to do the same type of support. For me now, emotional support is really nice. So that I can say, oh, I had a bit of a crappy day today, or, oh, do you know, I just don't know how to do this, or can I ask for some advice? So I think as I've gotten older, it's about the emotional support. But I learn as much from seeing people do stuff that I think I don't want to do that, and the way I do see them do it, and I go, I do want to copy that.
Beautiful. And I think support comes in a lot of different ways. We can get much further if we have support, whether that's emotional, financial, or physical support, like our health, right? As simple as our health, and being able to really fuel the machine that's going to help drive everything. But I love the fact that now you've recognized, and I completely agree with you. I did everything by myself as well. I actually still do a lot by myself because I'm very efficient. And, I'm proud to do that. But I also see the value of not doing it by yourself, or, thinking that's a badge of honor, because
Yeah.
I really don't think that doing it by yourself is a badge of honor, even though I've done a lot on my own. What do you think about that?
Yes, yes, I think it is. I'm happy to ask for help. I mean, I'm also a very good delegator, actually. So I understand when those things need to be delegated and passed on. I understand when I've got if I have a weakness of sort. Chai, come here. Chai's growling because she knows it's lunchtime.
Chai, are we going to have
Oh,
a
what?
photo bomb? Come on.
Come here then, baby. Come here. Come here. You can come round. She's like, it's 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime. I know. She's a vegan and she loves her food. So she's ready. If she growls again, I'll bring her in. But yeah, I think I I do like having that support. I like the people being around me. I enjoy collaboration, but I also know when it needs to be my idea and I'm focusing in it, because you can have too many cooks in the kitchen. So come here. So I start my ideas. Good job I'm not naked on the bottom. Pandemic, you wouldn't have had trousers. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. So come here, you can support me. Come and support me. Here we go. Here we go. There she is.
So that is one of your support hers. I know Chai. I'm a puppy mama as well, and so cutie pie.
Mm-mm.
Um, it's amazing what support animals bring to our
Well,
life.
exactly. So I think
They're
that's
right beside you. They feel every emotion.
it is. And I think that's where, this support aspect needs to be relooked at, because I think it comes in so many different shapes and sizes. It is all about where we are. Like, I am confident to ask for help. But I'm also not going to just ask people for no reason. And again, I just think this is experience and age and what I need the experience with. I mean, Sean basically copies all my ideas for everything. And he's been in the industry. I mean, he's actually been in the industry my age, 45 years. That's how long he's done this for. And he still comes and goes, that's a great idea. I'm going to copy that. Or what do you think on this? He's always asking for my advice on everything. So I think, yeah, support is necessary in so many different ways.
And when we talk about, I want to switch the gears a little bit because we are coming on our time, Elizabeth. It is like happened so fast. But, we talk about, I want to talk about what you believe um, has made you so successful. And, like there's everybody's like, look at what you have achieved in such a short period of time. So I'd love you to talk about some of those things, those routines, those rituals that you have, those non-negotiables that have contributed to your success. Peel back the onion on that for us.
Yeah, they've taken time for me to understand it and to also be very clear on, no, this is for me, or this is what I'm doing. I think I think the biggest things for me I see it's the word success as well. I kind of have a bit of a problem with the word success, because what is success? So let me give that clarity. For me, the success of waking up with a daughter that is happy, healthy, can earn her own money, be in her own right, that is success. I have a healthy dog who is happy and wants to be with me the whole time. I have a home, roof over my head, money to go and buy food. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs, let's put it in that context, okay? I have met all of that bottom layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So for me, that is success, because I think we live in a very difficult world. I wake up every day, I smile, I'm happy, I get to hug those two. I am very successful and I get to earn money by doing what I love. So let's say that that's my success. I'm not pinning it on, did I win an Academy Award yet, or have I won a Tony or whatever? So what has led to that is I am very aware of looking after myself in the best way I can, food-wise, walking-wise. I don't push myself. I'm not like at the gym lifting weights, and I'm not like, strict on calorie counting, but healthy. Food, walking, sunshine, those things are paramount to my day. If I don't have those, then I'm just going to feel yucky. Reading all the time. I read everything all the time. I just love it. I immerse myself in tangible books. I've worked out what makes me tick. So I know my environment to be in. I know that I love fairy lights. You don't call them fairy lights.
Oh, I love fireflies
Yeah,
and
little
fairy
Christmas
lights.
lights. Yeah. That environment, the smallness of like a creative space, my pens, my papers, my arts, enabling me to make sure I do that all the time. I take the time to do those things. I don't look at it as that's not important. Those things are a priority, constantly reassessing who I am, what I'm doing, what I like. I think just that mindfulness of that, of me, is what has led me to ensuring that I don't waste a moment. I don't waste a day. I don't feel bad about things. If things don't feel right, I listen to my gut, my instinct. Again, they're very esoterical. It's very metaphysical stuff, but those things, I have fun. I put my clothes on that I like. These are my magic pants. I love wearing my magic pants. I've got to feel good. Otherwise, what is the point? And this doesn't cost money. I don't shop. I don't spend any money. I'm a vegan. I'm zero waste. I'm a minimalist. I live with my daughter. I mean, this isn't like, oh, success is my big mansion in Beverly Hills, because that's not successful to me. Travel. That would be the other thing. Travel.
Mhm. Experiences are really important. And I love the simplicity because there's no clutter. Sometimes
Yeah.
that clutter, I can't work if it's messy. Like I have to clean everything up. I love the creative process where it gets super messy, but just
But
sometimes
it's where
I need,
your energy, it's where your energy is being spent, because you can have
yeah.
loads of things if you want to, but if that's taking your energy, and again, if you intentionally choose, I'm not judging, but for me, that's why the boat and the bus, my VW bus, my energy was being taken to look after those, and that was not where I wanted my energy spent. So I think there's a mixture in there of the answers, if that's okay.
No, it's beautiful. And it's, like everybody is different. And I think that's what's so amazing. But if they look at, gosh, she's achieved so much and I love her outlook on life, but how does she do it? I think that gives us a really great insight onto what makes you tick for you. And I think everybody has that inside them as well. And so rediscovering, or maybe it's like a little exercise where, our listeners can go, what really brings me joy?
Okay, so
Um,
So one of the exercises, if they want to do this, is my energy circles. And they need to draw circles 100%, 75%, 50%, and draw those circles and write on those numbers what it is you spend your time on. You can do it either way, actually. What do you spend your time on? 100% of my time, pretend 100, 75%, 50%, and then do it again. What would you like to spend your time on? 100%, 75, 50. And it's amazing. They're often the total opposite.
Mm. Money shot right there. Okay, so there's so much in this podcast, Elizabeth. There's fun, there's exercises, there's gratitude, and there's a whole lot of joy going on. We are coming to the end. I'm so looking forward to hugging it out again with you. I know I just saw you in LA, that was bonus time. I literally thought I won the lottery that day. Like I just appreciate your energy and our connection.
Our photo.
It was for a reason and a purpose. It always is.
I love our photo that day. It's really cute. It's really like there's just like an energy inside us. It's really nice. And I'm so excited to see you in New York.
I'm very excited to see you as well. Before we end, though, the podcast, it wouldn't be a Woman of Inspiration podcast without me asking you, Elizabeth, what is your definition of a woman of inspiration?
I was lying in bed thinking about it this morning. To me, I think it is somebody that has a vision and can execute it. Because that could be something, as I said, if you're a woman that finds it hard to just get up in the morning, well done. That's inspirational that you got up and did that. If you are somebody that wants to own a Fortune 500 and you manage it, well done. I think it's someone that has a vision and executes it.
Beautiful. Well, it's been a great joy. You are a woman of inspiration, Elizabeth. I deeply admire, respect you, love your energy, and I'm looking forward to celebrating you very, very soon. Any last words for our audience?
Buy my book, watch my TED Talk, and just do it. Just fuck it.
Fuck it, just do it. That's a great last words. So thank you for joining us for the Woman of Inspiration podcast today with Elizabeth Blake Thomas. And if you'd like to learn more about her, visit motheranddaughterentertainment.com or just Google her. She is everywhere. And if you love this podcast, please, I encourage you to share it widely. And I look forward to seeing you, Elizabeth, really soon. And I look forward to the big journey ahead because there's a big one. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.